So, Minister, a couple of years ago, I sat through 2 weeks of an inquest of a little girl who was beaten to death, right? One of the main things out of that inquest was we needed better public oversight of the child welfare system. Ted Hughes said the same thing. Now your ministry is not even responding to her reports. What's going on?
Do you have an example? Because I'm perplexed by that statement.
She said she's not had a response to 2 reports in the last year.
Which would they be?
These ones right here.
Kids, crime and care, and housing, help and hope.
Well, okay. First of all, I'm perplexed because, especially with respect to the housing report, I've already sat down with the representative a couple of times, and we've worked out an agreement as to how we would be responding to that. In fact, I have a letter on my desk right now from her that acknowledges the work that we've done in terms of responding to the committee, and asks that we talk about how we might be able to provide her with information that would allow her to track. That's not out of sync with the kind of conversations she and I have had regularly. I haven't had that expressed to me by her.
But she says that your ministry is now only going to be responding to her reports through the committee.
No. Actually, we have another method of responding as well. She and I sat down together, and part of what we talked about was the need for her office to be able to track and monitor our progress, and specifically in 3 areas. One, with respect to transformation, because that responds to Hughes, right? The second, with respect to our integrated framework for children and youth, because that's how we are responding to the child poverty issue. And the third was on our quality assurance, which also runs through those reports. So we wrestled with that, discussed it, and we eventually agreed on having my Chief Operating Officer, Mark Sieben, and her deputy, Jeremy Berland, would share progress on those 3 items specifically at regular information sharing meetings. And those have been happening, and my understanding is that we're both pleased with that process. So there has not been an occasion when we've talked or when she's communicated with me that we haven't provided her with what she's asked for. So I'm quite perplexed, actually.
Well, she sat down at a committee here just a few minutes ago and went through these reports, recommendation by recommendation, and said no response, no response, no response.
Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm perplexed at why she would say that, because we've been regularly meeting with her. I have been, my staff has been. She's aware of how we intend to be responding. Some of the reports, of course, have yet to be responded to. Some we have responded to. But she's aware of all of that. We've met whatever she's asked for. The outstanding reports, we have not yet reported to the committee. We've committed to do that, as we have from the beginning. And we haven't strayed from our commitments there either. So again, I'm perplexed because I meet with her regularly. I talk with her regularly. As does my staff.
But maybe she's looking for action, not just meetings. Maybe she's saying,
well, at my last meeting with her, she was quite complimentary about the action we'd taken, first and foremost with our production of a document and a method that would allow us to track transformation and practice change. She was complimentary about the fact that we had moved on the integrated framework for children and youth, and that we seemed to have charge of the child poverty agenda, that we were working toward that cross-ministry, and about our quality assurance. And that's why those 3 pieces were the subject of our discussion, because she was anxious to see if perhaps there was a way she could incorporate that progress into her upcoming Hughes report. So, as I say, she and I worked together on that, developed a process, and I have not heard anything but positive about that happening. So I'm perplexed, because my impression from meeting and talking with her, from the correspondence we've exchanged, and I monitor my staff very closely in terms of our interactions with that office. I'm actually hearing a very opposite perspective, including from her. So I'm quite perplexed at her comments.
So afterwards, if we go to your staff and say, where are you on all these recommendations, they'll be able to say done, 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 is that?
Well, they'll be able to tell you where each of those recommendations sit. As I say, with different reports, there's a different approach. One of the things that we do, and she's aware of this, and she and I have talked about this, is that we often incorporate what happens in terms of an individual recommendation with overall work that's being done. Again, I'm perplexed because I'm not aware. Well, actually, I'll back up. It was really important to me when I became minister to improve the relationship that our ministry had with the representative's office. She's expressed to me her satisfaction that I've worked very hard at that and that I've actually achieved significant success in that regard. Our interface unit, for example, we're at a point now where we provide so much information to the representative's office that one of the things I've been talking to her about, and so has my deputy, is can we discuss a way in which we can try to streamline the way we provide you information? Because right now there's just such a body of it that it's taking a tremendous amount of our staff time and resources. So we're at a point where we're providing so much information to the representative's office that that's becoming a topic of discussion for she and I. So again, I'm quite perplexed at what she's saying, because it doesn't jive with what she's been saying to me or what our staffs in both offices have been saying to one another. And it's a big concern to me if I'm not hearing from her the same message she's giving to you.
Well, we're getting like I got to tell you, two completely different stories.
I understand that. I can see that on your face.
Because she said down in the hallway just a few minutes ago, the ministry is not engaged with her office.
Okay, well, I mean, I can provide you with the amount of information requests that we've responded to in the last year. I can provide you with the amount of meetings that we've had in the last number of months since I've been minister. I'm happy to talk with you about the engagement I've had directly with her. I mean, we've reached a point now where we're both comfortable just picking up the phone and calling each other, and where we have meetings. We've had 2 breakfast meetings since I became minister. It's a big emphasis for me. And again, every single time that she's brought a concern to my attention, and there always will be, right? My approach has been to find a way to solve it. And with respect to our last meeting, I was really pleased that we'd reached resolution on what I thought were 3 pretty substantial areas that she needed information on. And I think it's a really effective tool. If we have a key person in my staff and a key person in her staff who are regularly going to meet to monitor our progress on those 3 specific areas, those are big ticket items, I think that's huge. So I'm perplexed because maybe she's not aware of some of what's going on.
So how do you explain it then?
I don't know how to explain it. I don't know how to explain it because it's contrary to my discussions with her, and it's contrary to our actions and what I'm seeing. And because it was such an emphasis for me, my staff can tell you I've been driving pretty hard around what's our response, how have we engaged, have we met, have we shared the information. They know that, and she's acknowledged that to me, that she noticed a huge difference in terms of what I was driving staff to do in terms of relationship with her. And actually, I think if you look at what's happened with our interface unit, that, for those of you who don't know, that's a department we established whose sole responsibility is to manage information requests, 90% of which come from her office. Just the sheer volume of information that we provide there is quite astonishing. So I'm perplexed because the response I've had from her has been positive, and now I'm hearing that she doesn't seem to acknowledge that, and I'm not sure what to say about that.
One possibility,
one
it
more,
seems,
please.
is that one of you is lying to us. And I mean,
I don't know what to say to
I'm sorry,
that.
like, I mean, that's one possible interpretation.
Okay, I don't know what to say to that. I can only tell you what I've experienced and what I know. And like I say, we can provide you with information around information flow, number of meetings, things like that. But I don't know how to explain it either. I honestly don't. Maybe there's, and I've encountered this sometimes, maybe there's just perhaps not an awareness of some of the meetings and work that have taken place between her staff and my staff. Maybe at some level that hasn't percolated up to her. I don't know. I don't get the impression from her that she's a person who would purposely misstate something, but I have to believe there's some kind of lack of information here somewhere that maybe something she's not aware of going on or something.